was 5 and holding tight to a coat that smelled like rain. My daddy stood between the smoke and a man with hate for veins. He told me not to move, told me close your eyes, but I saw it all through fingers, and I've never left that night. 5 years old in fire, one shot tore the sky, blood soaked into sawdust, while the world just walked on by. I carry more than silence, more than any child should hold. My soul was scorched and broken at 5 years old. Mama tried to fix me with Sunday soup and grace, but I saw my father fall, and I can't unsee his face. The gunman walked like thunder, like he'd done it all before, and I carved that man's name on the back of every door. 5 years old in fire, and I learned what hate can do. That day I met the devil, and he wore worn-out boots. I don't remember birthdays, just the way that barrel rolled, and a cry too late to matter to a boy 5 years old. Stay low while they drew steel from their teeth. So if you see a man in shadow with a heart turned cold, just know he was forged when he was 5 years old. screamed out my name. Through blood burning claws, I held the air where she once was, and swore I'd pay the cost. Bitter and steady, 2 years of dust, 2 years gone blind, with a knife in my coat and vengeance in my Joe heard a footstep near the fence, where no foot should ever fall. A shadow small and shivering by the seventh cross on the wall. Eyes like broken lanterns, hands like winter bone. He said, boy, what you running from? The child said, I'm alone. Joe and the hollow boy, two souls without a name. father that vanished into flame, a mother lost to hunger, no kin, no face, no claim. Joe poured him creek water, laid a blanket by the stone, and saw his younger self there, in flesh but not alone. Joe and the hollow boy, two ghosts with skin and scars, one buried under guilt, one counting broken stars. They didn't need no talking, just a fire, not a ploy. Two shadows found a shelter, Joe and the hollow boy. No one comes to claim him, and Joe won't let him go. He don't need forgiveness now, just someone else to know. And every dusk they wander where the mourners won't deploy, keeping peace among the stones. Joe and the hollow boy. Joe built a shack past the crosses where the grass don't dare to grow. Just him, the crows in silence, and the names he can't let go. No whiskey on his table, just a lantern and a blade. Each night he walks the headstones like a man trying to be unmade. The graveyard doesn't sleep, it hums beneath his feet. Every name, every face still haunts him in that place. He's digging for forgiveness where no preacher dares to weep. Joe lays down with the dead, but the graveyard doesn't sleep. They say he talks to spirits in a voice like broken coal. Reads from a leather Bible with a hole shot through the soul. No lawman comes to find him, no bounty dares to ride, 'cause even the damned know mercy when it walks with pain inside. The graveyard doesn't sleep, it moans when secrets creep. He tends the ground like penance, keeps his silence buried deep. He's digging for forgiveness where no preacher dares to weep. Joe lays down with the dead, but the graveyard doesn't sleep. And some nights the wind says Joe, and he answers back alone. I'm not asking for redemption, just somewhere I can atone. So if you pass that hillside, don't call, don't try to speak. Joe's still walking grave to grave, where the living don't dare peek. Your little smoke in Kansas, with blood still on his sleeve. The firelight showed his shadow, but no soul dared to believe. They say he rides with thunder, but I seen him walk alone. Talking to the dead like they're carved into his bones. Dust never forgets the weight of your name. Every step Joe takes burns deeper in the flame. He don't write no letters, he don't pay no debt, but the wind keeps whispering, dust never forgets. He stayed a while in Texas, where cattle kept his head. But nightmares don't go quiet when you leave 5 men dead. One preacher tried to save him, offered water, gave him grace. Joe just tipped his hat, said it's too late for that place. Dust never forgets the truth behind the eyes. Joe don't fear the gallows, he's already said goodbye. He don't beg for mercy, he don't place no bets, but the wind keeps whispering, dust never forgets. Carved their names in driftwood and watched it float downstream. Sometimes the calmest waters hold the loudest scream. loaded in past sundown, dust swirling at his heel. No badge, no law behind him, just a cold bite of steel. He walked into that tavern with silence on his breath, and 5 men raised their bottles, not knowing they'd meet death. 5 laid down by Joe. No words, no chance to run. He don't shoot for show when his reckoning's begun. Their sins burn through his soul, and he let that trigger go. Now 5 lay cold and low, 5 laid down by Joe. They called them the Carter brothers, and took his sister back in June. Buried her voice in a canyon under a crooked moon. Joe tracked him through the backwoods, through smoke and whiskey stains. He carved their names in silence, then let loose hell and flame. 5 laid down by Joe. No prayers, no final plea. He don't speak of sorrow, just the weight of memory. Their sins burn through his soul, and he let that trigger go. Now 5 lay cold and low, 5 laid down by Joe. The sheriff won't chase him, knows better than to try. Some justice rides with bullets, and some men just don't die. So if you ride through Dawson Creek and the wind begins to blow, remember what the ground still keeps: the wrath of a man named Joe. I was drinking by the doorway when Joe walked through the dust. The Carter boys were laughing, but their steel began to rust. He didn't shout no warning, just stepped into the flame. Five hearts stopped beating, but one still knows his name. I'm the one Joe didn't kill, a ghost that walks with guilt. He left me with the silence and the blood they tried to spill. He looked me in the eye and spared me on that hill. Now I wake with their voices. I'm the one Joe didn't kill. They used to call me Slim, rode with them but not proud. Never touched the girl, but I didn't scream out loud. Joe saw that I was shaking, hands stuck to the floor. He nodded once, then vanished through the tavern's busted door. I'm the one Joe didn't kill, left to bear the smoke. They say I was lucky, but that mercy still chokes. He looked me in the eye and spared me on that hill. Now I drink with their shadows. I'm the one Joe didn't kill. Every night I feel the weight of justice half served, and every road I take is a sentence I deserve. Joe's long gone to nowhere, but his fire lingers still in the eyes of the man he didn't kill. Joe rode in past sundown, dust swirling at his heel. No badge, no law behind him, just a cold bite of steel. He walked into that tavern with silence on his breath. And 5 men raised their bottles, not knowing they'd meet death. 5 laid down by Joe, no words, no chance to run. He don't shoot for show when his reckoning's begun. Their sins burn through his soul, and he let that trigger go. Now 5 lay cold and low. 5 lay down by Joe. They call them the Carter brothers. Took his sister back in June. Buried her voice in a canyon under a crooked moon. Joe tracked them through the backwoods, through smoke and whiskey stains. He carved their names in silence, then let loose hell and flame. 5 laid down by Joe, no prayers, no final plea. He don't speak of sorrow, just the weight of memory. Their sins burn through his soul, and he let that trigger go. Now 5 lay cold and low. 5 lay down by Joe. The sheriff won't chase him, knows better than to try. Some justice rides with bullets, and some men just don't die. So if you ride through Dawson Creek and the wind begins to blow, remember what the ground still keeps: the wrath of a man named Joe. At a nameless crossroad, I walked with the weight of law. My boots scraped dirt in silence where no one prays at all. The moon split the sky like a blade through lung and bone, and the bottle in my pocket was the last thing I called home. Blood on the gravel, screaming the black. You sow your poison, it's coming back. I deal with the shadow, I packed in the dust. No room for mercy, no soul to trust. Barbed wire thoughts in my head, rusty truths I can't unsay. I left a name on a headstone down by the river clay. The sheriff's voice still haunts me from a throat full of smoke and war. Said, boy, hell ain't beneath you, it's just past that door. Blood on the gravel, screaming the black. You sow your poison, it's coming back. I deal with the shadow, packed in the dust. No room for mercy, no soul to trust. Watch from the power line as I lit my final flame. Even the devil walked away when I whispered my own name. Blood on the gravel, and silence felt like rain. He was just 16, boots full of mud, back from working fields with blood in the sun. Walked through the door, heard her crying low, and what he saw, no boy should ever know. Mama on the floor, and with a belt in hand, that man turned round, said, be a man. But Joe already was, and he didn't blink. Pulled the iron from the drawer beneath the sink. Joe didn't think, he just pulled and fired. One shot cracked through wooden wire. The silence after burned like flame. That's the moment the boy died and Joe became. He held his mama, she shook like ash. Blood still warm, the truth too fast. No sirens came, no law to call. Just Joe standing tall in the ruin of it all. She said, you saved me, but you lost too. And he just stared like broken glue. Pack one bag, never look back. The road ahead was cold and black. Joe didn't think, he just pulled and fired. One shot cracked through wooden wire. Justice came, but peace never did. Buried his soul where that man hid. He walks alone with a fire inside. Some scars don't bleed, they just decide what kind of man you're meant to be. When love and rage sets you free. Now they whisper in towns he rides through. He saved her life, but lost his too. A son, a gun, a mother's name. That's what made Joe. That's what Joe became.